So welcome everyone. We're celebrating Census Day here at Essex County College. And we've been working on the census over the last year. And we also received a grant from the Fund for New Jersey to promote Census 2020. We are recording this session, just so you know. And if you have questions or comments, please submit them to chat. And if you're on social media, please use the hashtags #MakeEssexCount and Students First. So we will begin with our president, Dr. Monroe.
Thank you, Dr. Steplight Johnson. Good afternoon, everyone. I know many of you are on mute, I can tell. And it's good to see you all virtually. Welcome to our very special virtual Census 2020 presentation. Before we get started and before we get into the significance of the census, I just want to remind everyone to do whatever you need to do to stay healthy and strong mentally, physically, spiritually. It is critically important that you get current, accurate information so that you can ensure that yourselves and your loved ones remain healthy and strong. You can find some of that information on our website, www.essex.edu/ or / it is, coronavirus alert. And we have a lot of information there from the college, but also information from CDC at the federal level, state level, and the local level. So please make yourselves aware at all times of the precautions that you should be taking in addition to social distancing so that you remain healthy and safe. I want to say a special thank you to Dr. Steplight Johnson, who has been working on this for quite some time and has been supported not only by the college, but many individuals to bring this virtual Census Day to fruition. The original plan was to have an in-person panel discussion with lots of activities, but because of where we are with this global pandemic, we thought the next best thing was to stay connected in the virtual space. So Dr. Steplight Johnson, thank you for taking the baton and running with it. This is very, very important for us to do. And we're going to talk about why is the census important. Today, as you all are aware, is the deadline to complete the census either online or on the phone. Okay, and if you don't complete it online or on the phone today, April 1st, then you will be contacted by someone, by a census worker. And we ask that if you are contacted by a census worker, that you respond quickly and accurately, because it is very, very important that we get a good and complete and accurate head count of how many people live in your respective households. And our presenters today will get into why that's important and what programs we benefit from. But overall, the census is critically important to get a good head count because we want to ensure that we at the local level and at the state level get all of the financial resources that we're entitled to. We've paid for it. So we might as well get the money, get the resources that we are entitled to. So that to me is probably the most critical reason to complete the census and make sure that it is accurate. And because of where we are now as a nation and as a world, it is even more important that this particular census be completed and be completed timely and be completed by all. As you can imagine, Local resources, statewide resources, even national resources are being stretched to limits that we've never seen before. And people are losing jobs, unfortunately, by the tens of thousands. And so it is really important for us to complete the census, do it today. I did mine a long time ago, and it took maybe 3 minutes. So please, I'm asking that each of you and those in your circles of influence complete the census. Do it today. Do a watch party. Do a Zoom check-in. You can get your folks together on Zoom or Duo or whatever it is, and you all go and get up there and finish and do a race. Who can complete the census the fastest? You know, make a contest out of it, make it interesting and exciting. But there's so many ways to encourage people to get the census done. As they say, get it did. Let's get it did, and let's get it did today. So thank you very much, and I look forward to hearing the rest of the panelists.
Thank you, President Monroe. And at this time, we have 66 people on the call, so we're climbing towards our goal of getting at least 100. And I just want to remind everyone, we are recording. Please put your phone on mute unless you are a speaker. And I wanted to let you know, if you have questions, please enter them into chat. And if you're on social media, use the hashtag #MakeEssexCount and the hashtag #StudentsFirst. So at this time, we will hear from Dr. Keith, Dean of Student Affairs.
Oh, good afternoon, everyone. I thank the president for his remarks. He was dead accurate. It really is about us getting everyone counted. And you can see the impending crisis and the future crisis that can be, that will be occurring if we don't get everyone counted, so that we can better have a way of deciding the limited financial resources, how they're distributed based on the information. I also like to also echo the president's thoughts by thanking Dr. Steplight Johnson and Dean Slade, but Dr. Steplight Johnson for pulling this together. I don't think I've ever thought about having a Zoom webinar where we would have faculty, staff, and student, and people from our community, like Mr. Baylor, like Mr. Stanley, involved in this really, really important event. It is truly a signature moment for the college, so thank you again, Dr. Steplight Johnson. I'm not going to hold you any longer, just to say Dr. Monroe was absolutely right. We did ours online. It took less than 3 minutes. Have some races, have some competition, email, phone, whatever you have to do, but get people involved in the census. And so we're going to wait for Mr. Baylor and Mr. Stanley to contribute. I'll be listening, and thank you all for being a part of this outburst. And again, thank you, Dr. Steplight Johnson.
Thank you, Dean Kirkland. And with our theme of Students First, we're going to start off now with learning about the census from our student, Naphtali Middy. Naphtali?
Hi. Hi. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Good, thank you. So what is the census? Everyone wonders what is the census, and I do have some information for you today. The first census took place in the U.S. in 1790. The census is a counting of the population and takes place every 10 years. April 1st, the first is the key date on which the 2020 count is based. The U.S. Bureau uses April 1st as a common date of reference to know where people are and where they're residing. The census is mandated by the U.S. Constitution, Article 1, Section 2.
Thank you, Naphtali. We appreciate you coming on and showing that students are first, and we appreciate your sharing information about what the census is. At this time, we will hear from Professor Stanley, who will talk about what we could lose if we are not counted.
Well, thank you, Dr. Johnson. And again, I just want to commend you, as the others have, for the fantastic work you're doing on this. If we're not counted fairly and accurately, we could lose federal funding, and we could lose seats for congressional representation. Our congressional seats were reduced from 13 to 12 after the 2010 census. So we lost a seat and we lost representation in the House. The count also impacts political power and representation at the local level and at the state level. So it's not just political power in the United States Congress, but our community could also lose legislative representation down in Trenton. No, I just want to mention that under the original Constitution, enslaved persons were only counted as 3/5. For every 5 persons, they were counted as 3 enslaved persons. After the 14th Amendment, this changed. And so every African American can be counted as a full person. So let's make sure that, well, we know that Black lives matter. Let's make sure Black lives count. And again, thank you. I appreciate being part of this.
Thank you, Professor Craig Stanley, for that information and for that historical aspect and perspective. At this time, we will hear from Ms. Shogandi St. Jean, who will talk about how you complete the census form.
Good afternoon, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Great. My name is Shogandi St. Jean, and I'm the coordinator of Career Resources and Student Development Initiatives, Office of Student Development and Counseling. The Census 2020 is happening now. How do you complete the Census 2020 form? People can complete the Census 2020 questionnaires by going online, visit my Census 2020, visit my Census 2020, visit my 2020 census.gov, or you can do it via mail, or also you can do it by phone. Please call 844-330-2020 or call the number associated with your preferred language.
Thank you, Ms. St. Jean. At this time, we will get information about how much funding is involved. Dean Bawachi.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Augustine Boachi. I'm the acting dean of Liberal Arts and Business, and we welcome each one of you here. We thank you for participating in this. One of the most important reasons for census is to know how many people are in each geographical area for national resource distribution. A fair and accurate census count impact how $675 billion in federal funds are distributed to local communities throughout the country each year. Therefore, it is our responsibility to let this happen by making sure that we get our fair distribution of the national resources. Thank you all.
Thank you, Dean Bawachi. And at this time, we will hear from Professor Kathleen Battle, who's a counselor, who will let us know about the different resources that receive federal funding that our students use. Professor Battle.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Professor Kathleen Battle, and I am a counselor in the Student Development and Counseling Office. Completing the Census 2020 will allow students that receive financial aid to continue to receive federal funds via the Pell Grant. In addition, many community services receive federal funding, like hospitals, hotlines like the Crisis Hotline, Suicide Hotline, and Domestic Violence Hotline. Also, the SNAP program, which is a nutritional program that helps a lot of our families in the community, will continue to receive funding, and transportation programs that are used by our students, faculty, and staff will continue to be funded.
Thank you, Professor Battle. And speaking of transportation, we have with us Ms. Melody Bundy, who's the program manager at New Jersey Travel Independence, and she will talk about how the funding impacts many of the transportation services and public transportation that our students use, as well as Access Link. Ms. Bundy?
Oh, thank you, Dr. Steplight Johnson, and thank you all for having us here. My name is Melody Bundy. I'm the program manager for NJ Travel Independence Program at Rutgers University. And the census counts to connect to our primary funder, which is New Jersey Transit, which offers many accessible services from the accessible bus routes that some students, faculty, and staff may use from the 34, 25, and the 71 buses to get to the campuses, to name a few, even the local rail stations from Newark Penn Station, as well as the light rail station. Access Link is also an accessible feature of NJ Transit, which provides curb-to-curb service for people with disabilities. And they also provide travel training, which is a primary program of NJ TIP at Rutgers University, which helps Essex County College students learn how to use public transportation to get to Newark as well as the West Caldwell campus and eventually go to jobs, including students with disabilities as well as we serve seniors. So don't forget, hashtag make Essex County count, students first. Thanks.
Thank you, Ms. Bundy. And yes, that's make Essex count and students first. So those are our two hashtags for today's meeting. And we are very fortunate to have with us a representative from the U.S. Census Bureau. We have with us Mr. Jeff Baylor, who is the Regional Director of the New York Region Census Bureau. And we've been working with the Census Bureau, whether it's been the New York office or the local representatives housed in Newark for about the last 12 months. So now we will hear from Mr. Baylor, who will talk about some of the concerns that people have: confidentiality, the undocumented, and how do you count a college student at a commuter college? Mr. Baylor?
Great, thank you so much, Dr. Steplight, and it's an honor to be here with all of you today. Thank you for allowing me to participate and be a part of this wonderful event. Yeah, the census is live, it's now. So we have a census conversation we talk about, and we say the census is safe, the census is easy, and the census is important. And you covered very well how easy it is and how important it is, all the things that rely upon accurate census data, not just next year, but for the next 10 years. So I really want to focus on the safe piece so people understand about the confidentiality and the protections behind the data. So every piece of data collected on the census, whether it's one of our ongoing surveys or it's the 2020 census, is protected under a federal law called Title 13. Created in 1954, this law basically states that the Census Bureau can never release information to anyone at the person or household level. So if you've seen our data, it's at a census tract level, it's at a city level, a county level, a state level. It's never at the person or household level. Local, state, federal enforcement can never access our data at any time for any reason, period, which means Homeland Security and ICE can never access our data. Even the Patriot Act does not supersede Title 13. The federal court numerous times since 1954 and Title 13 and the Census Bureau have won every time. There has never, ever been a breach of Title 13 since its existence. So people need to feel confident that the data they provide is protected and that the census is safe. Regarding our goal, Article 1, Section 2, I should say, mandates that we count everyone living in the United States. We don't care if someone's here legally or illegally. Our job is to count them. And what's important to note that the 2020 census will not include a question on citizenship. That was a challenge that was raised in federal court, went all the way to the Supreme Court. It was determined that that question could not be included on the 2020 census. So people need to hear that and understand that we are not asking their citizen or immigration status. The last thing regarding college students, before I jump into that, I do want to mention, if you haven't seen, you can see our self-response rates on a daily basis for your community. If you haven't checked it out, you should at 2020census.gov. I can tell you yesterday, the state of New Jersey was at 36.5% self-response. That means that's the percentage of households that have either gone online, called it in over the phone, or filled it out on paper and returned it. Essex County is currently at 30.4%, and the national average is currently at 36.2%. And it's pretty cool. You can really go down and zoom into certain geographies within a county or certain neighborhoods within a city to see how many households have self-response. So I just want to put a plug in for that if you haven't learned. But counting college students is extremely important. And there's two ways in which we count college students. The first, those that live on campus in a dormitory. We work directly with local administrations at that college or university, and they typically provide us with an administrative file or some type of file to collect information on all the students who live at that dormitory. We do the same things in jails and prisons and nursing homes throughout the state of New Jersey. It's the off-campus students that we're really concerned about, especially with COVID-19 and many of our schools going to a virtual online coursework for the remainder of the semester. Census data, the residence criteria, states that we need to count those students where they usually live or stay, which is at that off-campus student housing, whether they rent an apartment or rented a home. So we're working with university officials, with partners, with elected leaders throughout the state of New Jersey to get that message out, to try to get those students, even if they're at home, let's say living with their parents for the remainder of the semester because they're taking classes virtually, we have to ensure we get them to go online. When they go online and they're asked for their census ID, they just can click on the link right below that says, I don't have my ID, and they can go ahead and key in their address. So it's important that they do that. And when they fill out the form, they fill it out for themselves and all the roommates that may live with them, because that is the only way that communities, cities, counties like Essex County will get a true and accurate count in the 2020 census. Thank you again for allowing me to participate.
Thank you so much for participating with us. We really appreciate you taking the time to join our Census Day Zoom call. And so everyone, you just received very good information about three major concerns that come up: confidentiality, the undocumented, and also how do you count college students. And Mr. Baylor, if you can take a look at the chat, perhaps there's some questions there that you'll be able to respond to. We have about 11 messages in the chat, and we have about 83 callers on our line so far. So at this time, we will hear from Ms. Lisa Padilla, who will let us know about the multilingual resources that are available regarding the census. Ms. Padilla?
So good afternoon, everyone. My name is Lisa Padilla. I'm the Administrative Assistant to the Office of Institutional Effectiveness, Planning and Assessment. And in regards to concerns over language translations, the United States Census Bureau provides translated web pages and guides in 60 languages, including American Sign Language, as well as guides in Braille and in large print. Some of the languages are Arabic, Chinese Cantonese.
So you're getting what?
Chinese Mandarin, French, Creole.
You have, I think, 3
Japanese,
states here, 4.
Korean, Polish, Portuguese, Russian, Spanish,
yeah, I think we're good, and we got
Tagalog.
Alex,
we have another.
As well as many others.
Lisa, can you hold 1 second?
Okay, Lisa, go ahead. Everyone, please keep on mute. I just muted Alex. Okay, Lisa.
Lisa's on mute.
Lisa, unmute yourself.
I don't know how that happened. Can you guys hear me?
We can hear you now.
Yes, when you talk, we can hear you and see you as long as you keep talking.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
Okay. So for those Spanish speakers, vaya a my2020census.gov y seleccione español en la esquina superior, hacia la derecha de la ventana, para acceder al cuestionario del censo 2020 en español. Si necesitas ayuda para completar el cuestionario del censo del 2020, llame gratis al 1-844-468-2020. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Padilla, for sharing the resources and the fact that they are available in multiple languages. And along that theme, Ms. St. Jean has a message for us in Haitian Creole.
Good afternoon, bonsoir. Pour nous gagner accès au recensement 2020, questionnaire recensement 2020, nous allons aller online Le nou rive nap klike sou se MY 2020 census.gov. Le nou ale online nap gen akses an kreyol sou resansman epi nap ka repon kesyon yo. Kesyon yo vreman fasil e li rapide nan mwes ke 5 minit wap ka get an fin repon tout kesyon yo. Ou bien si ou pa vle fè li sou internet ou ka rele nan nimero sa ki se 844-477-2020. 844-477-2020. Merci. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. St. Jean. And in keeping with the theme of the multiple languages that are available, and you can mute yourself, Ms. St. Jean, we also have a message from Professor Alexander in French, which is one of the 60 different languages that are available. Professor Alexander?
Bonsoir. Rendez-vous sur MY2020CENSUS.gov et sélectionnez Français. Situé dans le coin supérieur droit de la fenêtre pour accéder à votre questionnaire du recensement 2020 en français. Pour obtenir une aide afin de remplir votre questionnaire du recensement 2020, appelez gratuitement le 1-844-494-2020. Je répète, 1-844-494-2020. Merci.
Thank you, Professor Alexander. So just to reiterate for everyone, the census is available in 60 different languages, including American Sign Language, as well as guides in Braille and large print. So everyone, make sure that you are counted. If you would like additional information about Census 2020, you can go to the main site, www.2020census.gov. And the key date is today, April 1st, because the census counts people where they are based upon where they lived on April 1st. And
Dr. Steplight Johnson?
Yes,
Can we
Dean.
have Mr. Davis say something, a few words, please?
Okay, Mr. Davis. Are you muted, Mr. Davis? Mr.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I had to help.
Okay, thank you. Here you are.
What did I just miss?
Dean Kirkland was just asking you if you would like to share a few words and maybe talk about the Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity, your chapter's social action committee plans.
Yes. So my name is Freddie. I am the co-chair of Alpha Alpha Lambda chapter of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated Social Action Committee. And right now, with obviously the pandemic going around, what we are looking to focus our efforts on are basically electronic communication of the census. We've heard that it takes about 7 reaches for a person to go from unlikely to fill out the census questionnaire to becoming likely. And especially with the type of regions that are historically hard to reach or hard to count for the census, we are focusing our messaging around why it is particularly important that residents of those regions fill out the census form in terms of the funding. And so, like it's been said a lot, we're focusing on the SNAP program, Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, Section 8 housing, federal Pell Grants, Medicare and Medicaid. All of these programs are funded based off of census numbers. And so since a lot of them seek to help restore some type of income equality and economic justice, it feels rather unfair that the communities don't still remain underfunded because their funding is linked to the census. So one of the ways we can combat that is just by getting the census response rates up in the communities that really do need those programs. Another thing that we've noticed when reaching out to people and attending seminars on it is that sometimes the reason people don't respond to the census is because of just general mistrust in the government, especially with like recently there was like a really hot debate like in the like I guess 2 years ago on if like a citizenship question would have made the census, and especially in you know our like most immediate region, like I'm thinking of like Orange, East Orange, North, there's a really large population of immigrants, and so we're trying to find ways to make them feel comfortable filling it out. And one of the ways is bringing up that the citizenship question is no longer on it, and that it's actually illegal for census workers to share that type of information, even if it was on, with other branches of the federal government. And finally, one of the last things that we're doing in Alpha Alpha Lambda chapter specifically, and that we've seen inspire other chapters of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated to do, is we're trying to have and we're getting close to it 100% compliance with the census, so we can start like so we can lead by example. And once that's done, it's just really important to, like people have said on this call already, make sure you hit your friends and family who might not. While I was carrying groceries, I got a text from somebody, and because I was on this call and it was fresh in my mind, I was like, hey, have you filled out your census form? Like it takes 5-10 minutes, if you're really bad at reading and writing down names, I guess. But so that's basically like we're taking we're trying to keep it conventional, even though we live in really unconventional times. So we're going to have that video completed by today, so that we can start blasting out people in the community and our friends and family. And so that's how Alpha Alpha Lambda is contributing to the effort to get everybody counted.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. So we really appreciate you and your support. As we all know, originally we were planning an in-person event, and we were going to work with the Alpha Alpha Lambda chapter of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity, and Freddie Davis, is the co-chair of the Social Action Committee. So because it's virtual, we're now moving to, of course, this Zoom meeting, and we will have additional video and probably an additional Zoom call soon. So we really thank you, Freddie Davis, for all of your assistance. And also we received support, as I mentioned earlier, from the Fund for New Jersey to promote awareness about Census 2020 and its importance. If you would like additional information, you can go to Census 2020 main website, which is www.2020census.gov. So www.2020census.gov. And the key date is today, April 1st, which is Census Day. So when you fill out your census, you fill it out based upon where people live, or you expected them to live, or where they actually lived on April 1st. So if you did it before April 1st, you would put it based on where you thought people would be living on April 1st. If you do it after April 1st, you do it based upon where people actually resided on April 1st. So we reached 84 people on this call. Please remember that you can do your census online, by mail, or by telephone. And our hashtags for social media are Make Essex Count and Students First. We're now up to 84 participants, and I would like to give President Monroe and Dean Kirkland the opportunities to say closing remarks. President Monroe.
I'll ask Dr. Kirkland to go first, and then I'll follow him.
Thank you, Dr. Monroe. I cannot stress enough how important census taking are. I remember back in 1980 and 90, I actually did census out counting homeless people who are in bus shelters and the airport and all, and how important their input is in determining the number of people that were in our city and that live in our county. Everyone counts. Everyone matters. And as Dr. Monroe says, all people matter in this one. So I urge you all to please reach out to your friends, your family, and all, and encourage them to get involved with Census Day and to go online and to complete their census. Thank you, Dr. Steplight Johnson. Thank you, Dr. Monroe.
Thank you so much. Thank you, each and every one of you, for taking the time out to join our virtual Census 2020 presentation. And thank you to all the panelists for your invaluable contributions. Thank you, Dr. Steplight Johnson, for coordinating this. Brother Freddie Davis, thank you for your contribution as well. We need to stay on top of this and make sure that everyone in our respective circles have completed their census, hopefully today. As I'm sitting here, I'm actually texting everyone that I know in my phone, get it did. That's Bronx. That's Bronx language. I don't think that's one of the 60 that's on that list, but in the Bronx, we say get it did. So that's what I'm doing right now. So everybody that's in this phone, I got another phone that I'm going to be doing the same thing too. So do it.
That's your hashtag, President Monroe, get it did?
Yes, contact your folk and tell them they got some hours, but it doesn't take that long to complete the census. It's a matter of minutes. And those few minutes will have an impact for the next decade of how we are supported and resources with funds that we're entitled to. So let's get it done. We can do it. And we need everyone to play their part. So again, thank you very much. Job well done, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Baylor, so the telephone number is 844-330-2020.
That's correct. That's the English line. We also have 12 other toll-free telephone numbers for the other 12 languages. Best thing to do is go to 2020census.gov. There's a link on how to respond. That'll give you the direct link to fill it out online. It'll also give you a list of the 12 different toll-free telephone numbers. We have videos in 59 languages. We have language guides in 59 languages. A lot of tools and videos there to help people fill out their census.
Thank you again, Mr. Baylor. Thank you, everyone. And to close us out, we have Dean Boachi, speaking of multiple language still, to give us a word in tree. Dean Boachi.
Enuanom enipakan ebre na eduru no. Mama ye nyina mfa ye ho enyim na onkan ubia. Ma wani enko krata aban de abre wo no na edi nhihyeso no pepepe. Nipakan boa ema aban echesika ema obi enya bi. Se wo adwenkyire bi ana se bibi kire wa adwena. Bomode ne frɛ saa number yi baako enwɔtwe enan miɛnsa ehunu mienu ehunu ne susu biem baako enwɔtwe enan miɛnsa ehunu mienu ehunu edemu nyinaa ase. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Boachi. So hopefully everyone has learned as a result of this Zoom meeting presentation for Essex County College Census Day what we could lose if we are not counted. So make Essex count, students first. Thank you, everybody.